rapping. We some fly rhyming felines rapping on the track. Better yet, grab a gat, cause we hot like Enzo. Doors closed, windows up, cause that's the way we like to ride. Windy City hitting. Check mic 1 2 1 2. We live, baby.
Yo, what's up, Chicago? And welcome back to episode 630 of Speak Your Mind Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Queen Star, aka Ms. Hip Hop. And today is a very special episode, okay? We have a dope guest from all the way from Warner Robins by the way of Atlanta. He goes by the name of Pop Fontaine. And we'll be talking about his new single called Grinning, okay? And also we'll get to know the man behind the mic, you know? So without further ado, next up, the one and only Pop Fontaine. What's up, man?
How you doing, Queen? How you doing, Chicago?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. I can't complain. I'm copacetic.
Oh, you copacetic? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So.
I want to tell everybody out there like how I found your music, you know. So y'all, I was on Facebook doom scrolling, but then I came across something that, you know, kind of gave me a little perk. And that was Pop Fontaine. He had an ad on Facebook. So yes, they do work, okay? And that's how I found out who he was, that he was rapping, and I really liked his flow. So I slid in his DM and I asked him would he like to be on the show, and the rest is history, y'all.
Automatic, just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
So here at Speak Your Mind Radio, we start off each and every episode with an icebreaker question. So let's get started.
Okay.
Okay. If your life was a movie, what would be the title and why?
Ooh, I like that. Well, I'm a be cliche, and I'm gonna name it after a show I like. It'll be the Game of Thrones. Yeah. It's one of those things where even if you hear the title, you might not actually know exactly what it's aimed towards until you watch it, and then you say, "Okay, I get it. That's what it is." And I think that for the most part, everybody's own life is like that. So, you know, your purpose is to see how far you can get in this life until you transcend somewhere else. So, you know, it's a constant battle, especially when you step out the door, man or woman, and you address the situations that are going on in the world, that are going on in your life, things that are in any degree or separation from you, and you approach those things as a Game of Thrones because those things are out to compete with you, and you have to fight back with them to maintain your spot and where you are solidified at.
Wow, that's a good answer. Game of Thrones is a popular TV show for y'all who don't know. I haven't watched it yet, but it's not about judging a book by its cover. It's how far you can get into the book. Like you said, man or woman, you know, and how far you can get in the obstacles of life, because in life you have a lot of, you know, difficulties sometimes, you know. So yeah, that's cool. Okay, so now you're from Warner Robins and ATL. Now, how did those two places kind of like, you know, change your music?
Well, see, so I was born in Atlanta. I'm what they call a Grady baby. So people who are from there, you know, when they speak on like Grady babies, it's a hospital that's in the center of Atlanta, from a man named Henry. It was named after a man named Henry Grady. So most people who are ATLians know the history behind that. So Warner Robins is a smaller town in middle Georgia, and majority of my family that I grew up knowing were all in Atlanta. So my grandmother, she ended up uprooting us and moving us down south because I came up during the time where it was like freakniks and stuff like that. So the culture there was a little bit more sexually suggestive and empowered that way. So um my grandma came up from a different time, so she moved me and my mom and my brothers down there, and it was a slower life. So there, it was a lot of things that I picked up like really slow because Atlanta moves very fast. Like New York moves fast, and other large cities move fast, but Atlanta doesn't sleep as well. And when I moved down there and I was getting some of the customs of like country life, which is funny to say because people consider the South the country just in general. So that's how I ended up moving down there. My grandmother made sure that the influences that I was intaking were balanced. So some of the, you know, crazy stuff that was going on with some of the calm.
Wow. Shout out to your grandma, because I believe that kind of gave you character, for you to slow down. Because, like you said, you grew up during the era of the Freaknik and stuff like that, and she didn't want you to get involved in that mess. So, yeah, shout out to your grandma for real.
Yeah, so
Okay. So now I know that you've traveled a lot, you've seen different cultures. How did that impact you as an artist?
well, the thing about my artistry is that for the longest, even when I first started rhyming or any type of freestyle, I was already advanced in my vocabulary. So, I had like a lexicon, like I had words for everything, I had synonyms for everything. So once I once I visited these places and experienced these other cultures, I was like, man, even if I put that in my music, you know, it's only one or two ways it can work. Somebody's like, oh man, I don't know what he's talking about. Or someone's like, hey, he mentioned this in there. Let me see what that is. We have Google, and Google is a very powerful tool and it's your friend, you know what I'm saying? Most quoted by Jay-Z. But um you have to experience different cultures because at the end of the day, we're all the same species, which is the Homo sapiens sapien. And so a lot of times the misdirection or the misunderstanding for most people is language and culture. And it at the bottom of it, when you get to the bottom of it, it's all the same thing. We're just doing it differently. People cook the same foods, they just done with something different. People speak the same language. It's just we found another way to say it. And so I think that with language being a barrier, oftentimes for everyone, what we have to understand is that that's okay. That doesn't mean that we're not doing the same thing. And it's okay to go next door to someone who's from another culture and inquire about their culture or be inquisitive about it, because what we don't want to do is just be tunnel vision and only stuck in one place. And then when we do decide to experience different things or different things come and forces itself upon us, we don't know how to assimilate. And
Wow.
that's scary. It's overwhelming and you just don't know what to do. A lot of times people travel a lot of places and then they get there and don't know that this isn't the America you used to. Even if you travel to Mexico, they speak Spanish and you have no excuse because you went to school, hopefully, and you were given a foreign language. So, whether it was French or Spanish or anything like that, sometimes we don't have excuses for not knowing other things outside of what we know.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds very what's the word? You just gave me a history lesson basically. You know, for those who have traveled and for those who haven't traveled, and how you combined the two. And it's not a barrier of communication, but you put it through your music. So because everybody, music is universal. So you kind
Right.
of put that in your music, and you talk about different stuff too, and I like your vocabulary actually, so that's what stood out to me. But you mentioned that you been groomed by the military standards, so how has that disciplined and influenced your creative process and consistency within your music?
So what brings two things that we spoke about together is my one thing is my family is militant based. The women too. They're not they didn't specifically serve in the military, but they're like no nonsense women and they're very strict form on how to do a lot of things. So I was already groomed through them. You know, charity starts at home. So once I then took my journey and went to the military, it was very easy for me because I was able to conduct myself in a manner that I was already taught and raised upon. So when it came to me doing any type of flows and stuff like that, even if majority of the time I wanted to switch it up, even if majority of the time I wanted to scrap whatever and write something else about a different experience or add or take something out, those things shaped the way that I approach music. A lot of times we only have so many hours in a day, and I have to make sure that I dedicate some of the time to my music, whether it's producing a track, whether it's me writing something, having an idea, scrapping that, writing it again, or adding it to there. So it does take a lot of discipline in music to do music. And people who haven't served in the military but are successful in music show you that it takes discipline to do it, because a lot of times you have to continue to do the same thing repetitively. Then once you get that point across, you grow, and then once you grow, you let other people experience what you have learned in growth. You know, the laws of growth don't really change, we do, you know, because that's the purpose of doing the next thing afterwards. So is funny because the military, me writing songs, rapping songs, or producing songs, and then being militant are kind of weird in a way, because I was doing that and then I started taking music seriously. I had already been doing music when I was younger. I was freestyling and stuff like that. But then I had to take a hiatus. And once I took the hiatus, I was like, you know, I don't want to keep doing this for a long time. I do want to pursue music because I love that. And so as you see, it made me make a decision once I got out the military to pursue music as much as I can and still live a regular life.
Wow. That's impressive. I mean, that's why I'm kind of a little tongue-tied right now. Because you're right. When you are doing music, it does take a lot of discipline. And with the examples that you use, like for instance, there's only 24 hours in a day. What are you going to do with those 24 hours? How much time are you going to dedicate to your craft? And you figured a way to do that. And with I can't help but to say shout out to the women in your family for raising you for the way you are, because you are a fine young man when it comes to this music, you know what I'm saying? And it shows.
Right.
You're welcome. You know how to articulate yourself, you know how to express yourself, not only through conversation but lyrically, you feel me?
Respect. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay, so let's talk about your single Grinning.
Mhm.
So, what type of energy were you aiming for in this track?
Well, when I originally produced the track, um, I was trying to go in the direction of something being solemn, but like grateful, but more so a little dark, because a lot of times the things that we go through to get to where we're at, and then we think back on things and we're just like, man, I was messed up then, but you know, I'm better now, or it's like, hey, this is bad, but it wasn't as bad as where I came from. And sometimes we don't count those things. And so basically with the track, the sonic of it, of how it sound was more so to make it where I could convey, hey man, like it it's all right here. I'm okay where I'm at, because yeah, I've had more money than most people would care to know, and that sometimes they feel like I don't have anything to show for it. A lot of things that I've went through, I'm like, you know what, it's okay, because it could be worse, or it could be a situation where I don't have freedom anymore. It could be a situation where I'm stranded and I gotta walk somewhere. Or it could be worse than that, and I'm paraplegic and I gotta it's all types of different things that alter people's pathways. And a lot of times our gratitude isn't, we don't bless our gratitude the same way that we reward being blessed. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times when good things happen, we're positive that good things happen, but the way balance works is bad has to happen. It's no other way. We however you decide to be spiritual or religious, or whichever story you think is the one that tries to figure out what free will is, balance is good and bad. It's no other way around it. You can't have a all good world.
Come on now.
That doesn't make for the change of what's supposed to happen. That doesn't make for adversity. That doesn't make for triumph. You can't have an all bad world, because then we're not believers in something being good or something being better, and inspiring us to be good, or it doesn't have us to fight between what's good and evil, and we figuring out if the villain, what the villain said sounds bad, or if we're just in a bad state. Because a lot of times things sound bad and they're not necessarily evil things. It's just, sometimes people confuse perception. You'll see something bad and think that is ill-willed, or it doesn't have a good intention. And that's how you see it when you perceived it. And then you got up close on it and you just like, oh, this is why this happened, because of this. This had no other way but to happen this way. And bad things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. But a lot of times when we focus on bad things happening to good people, we then retrospect like, man, it's bad people all over the world. Why nothing, bad is happening to them? It is. You're just still only revealing in the good part. So because the person is good, you're just like, man, that shouldn't have happened to them. The bad person will get whatever their universe is supposed to supply them. And a lot of times everyone tries to keep up with the licks and strikes of bad people. And that's not what you're supposed to do. Your path is your path. You're supposed to still do what integrity allows you to do, even when nobody's watching, because that's your purpose. I can't worry about another person's life that has nothing to do with mine, that has nothing to do with my realm, that has nothing to do with my degree of separation for them. Everyone on this earth has free will. So if that's the case, we'll each person to take themselves out quicker, worrying about what someone else got going on, or worrying about who gets judged, or worrying about how life should deal with somebody else. That ain't your business. Whatever is with you is with you. Whatever's not for you will show itself to you, and you will know that it's not for you. At the end of the day, you still walk forward. You got to do what you got to do. We in this thing for a good time, not a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Clock that. Yes. Yes. You
Yeah.
explained that so good. And the frequency in which the song conveys the progress of one's own blessings. That's what I got out of it. Because you got your highs, you got your
Yeah.
lows. And like you said, you can't be wondering, count somebody else's strife or their licks in life, oh, they deserve to get that. And just because you're not seeing it don't mean it's not happening to this individual or
Mhm.
whatever. But it's not up to you to
Right.
judge that. Worry about yourself. Yeah. So
Yeah, and you get further in life like that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times when we experience social media and we experience different outlets, it's so convoluted and congested with people saying, "Oh, look at this breakup," or "Oh, this person say they get money," or "Oh, his jury ain't real, her jury ain't real." Oh, she went and got a BBL. So we're worrying about so many things that we as humans have now said that this is important. And what we don't get from it is, how does it make us exalted? You should only want to be around things that promote your level of frequency. So in a world where it's already polluted by ill, right? Because when every person comes out of their mother, regardless if you twins or just you're integrated into a sick society, a society that has deviancy, ill will, trouble, vagrancy, all types of just bad stuff. And so now you're navigating, trying to be as purified and righteous as you are through a life where your expectancy may be 20, your life expectancy may stop at 40, you may live to see 100. Your job is to continue to progress yourself and to put yourself in a state or inspired by seeing people who are on that same mission, to put yourself in a state where the ethereal is real and it's proven to people. A lot of people walk around every day and we debate aliens. We debate what's going on in the North and the South Pole. People debate whether they seen skinwalkers, or people debate why this person's a serial killer, or why this person is a sexual deviant, or why this person is vain on camera and they got all this cosmetic stuff done. It's because, with or without religious, with religious, without religion, or with spirituality, there's something greater than ourselves,
yeah.
right? Because religion is the indoctrination. It's the repetitive understanding of the things that have happened in life, and then these are the lessons for them. The spirituality is the concept that, hey, your inner being, even in this physical form, is not the be all. You're something else. Whether you believe that you were here in another life or at another time, or whether you believe that we're in a firmament, whether you believe just different things, it's all relative to you. Now, when you I'll say this to close it. When you walk through life and you're just doing life, right? Like, and I say that like how people who are incarcerated, they're doing life. You're doing life as well, because sometimes we let influences incarcerate our thinking.
Yes.
And so what happens is, you know, we out here and we just like, baby mama ain't this, she won't let me see my son, or my son needs some milk, my son need this, or the bills is due and I ain't got this, or 12 locked me up, the police locked me up because I was selling dope to try to feed my family. All of these things are low vibrating frequencies in which we're surviving in, to whether our thinking is to be like, I'm trying to do something better, but I just need this one chance to fix it. I need, just give me a break this way. We're we're crowded in this tunnel. So if we're crowded in this tunneling of just like, all right, I got to get up, I got to go to work. All right, you know, I'm at a job that I may or may not like. Working with people that I may or may not like. Um, Man, gas is high. Man, food is high. Man, they just did something and with GMO and messed up. Oh man, somebody's house is on fire. When all of these things, albeit are necessary, they're not necessary because they're just things that's just in a way. So it'll damper your spirit, it'll change your spirit, and it'll make it to where you're not able to, if you're not vibrating at a higher frequency, a lot of times people who experience these things, they know how to transform them into something greater and motivation. And they're like, you know what? Yeah, that got me. It did. All right. But this is what I'm gonna do next. And so, you know, a lot of times we keep trying and we keep trying, and then sometimes, you know, our faith may waver a little bit, but what's for you is for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not just a religious law, that's a universal law. What's for you is for you. Everything is where it's supposed to be, including you.
Yeah.
And whether you speed, you whether it's accelerated or it's slowed down, it depends on what energy and what time you put into this. So that's that was a lot that I said, but you know, just walk with me.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, brother. You are a wise one. I'll say that. And for the listeners out there, if you dig in this conversation, make sure that you tune in to his single Grinning, because he kind of amplifies all of what he just said. He breaks it down, conceptualize it for your ears. Okay, so Grinning, make sure you check that out. Go to Spotify. I think it's on YouTube too. All platforms of music. Okay. Um, Let me ask you, what do you think is the hardest part about being an underground artist in 2026?
I believe that your character is the hardest thing, and this is what I mean by that. Um, so just in context, I work two jobs, so that's why I tell people it's no excuses. And the jobs that I work are of my prerogative, and I chose them because I live a lifestyle that I can maintain, and I do things because I enjoy them. So one of the jobs that I have, I am licensed as a executive protection officer, and I do security.
Oh.
And so so what I so what happens is the duality of it is I've been able to make money from having the skills and assets that I attained from the military. But
Mm-hmm.
that's neither here nor there. So I use majority of my contracts that I purposely have are at nightclubs, right? So I can be there. I don't have to it don't require me to drink alcohol. I'm working, I make money, and I listen to all the music that comes out, right, wrong, or indifferent, right? And so sometimes I'm at you know, past the mic or however they want to call it, you know, mic, any type of showcases and stuff like that. And what happens is it starts well and good with artists, and then for some reason the next week, and this is in real time, the next week all the artists are beefing, and then somebody's saying something about somebody else, and then somebody turns around and says somebody's music isn't good. And this isn't promo cap, as they call it. This isn't them saying like, oh, we're doing this to promote some, or we're trying to cause like a, you know, boom 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 to shake everybody up, do a Kansas City shuffle where you look left and I go right. We're not trying to do that. We're really beefing about something that we are not at the pinnacle of.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say character, because there have been people who now in 2026, because the cliche and the colloquialism of chase the bag, you know, gotta have a big bag, bag this, bag that. We don't have love for making music anymore. And that says a lot about character.
Mm-hmm.
I have been making music for a long time. I've battled, I've freestyled. So my comfort level with my music and what I aspire it to be further, because again, we're here for time now. I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times artists who are trying to be considered as a independent artist don't understand what comes with it. Hey, you're going to have to fund a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Hey, some of this stuff that you're doing here, you're going to have to cut that short so you can save a few dollars to put it towards something else. Hey, marketing is a key thing. Think about that. Hey, yes, you're going to open mics, and there's nothing wrong with showcases and stuff like that, because they're going to look empty because no one really knows your music. Even further to that, people who are locally making music don't even listen to each other's music. Mm-hmm. So the real in that is a lot for people to take. And a lot of times I hear our artists come out after performing or just like that, man, they ain't messing with me, man. They ain't on, you know, on this wave. I'm vibing this, that, and the third. Hey, one, you got to find your pocket of people. The music you make may not be for the crowd that's watching. Right. The music you make, one person who understood everything you said, that may be they one song that they just like, you know what? And they gonna take your song, and every time they post a story on Facebook, they gonna do it there. They post a story. As long as your music is accessible to them, you know, or they'll come up to you, hey man, you know what I'm saying? You got any other stuff that's out? And you just like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm working on this, I'm working on that. You have to have character, even when that stuff seems tough. Your character should always be, I'm pushing forward. You out here worried about what another artist got going on, somebody stealing your style, this, that, and the third. You ain't reinventing the wheel. Right. All you are is a vessel. You're a vessel for something that's already been said. Mm-hmm. It's just your outlook on how you see it. Right. That's you know true. What I mean? So it's one of those things. So that's what makes it hard for the unsigned artist or the underground artist, is that character. Because if you don't have your character in order, it doesn't matter. That's the same as people who make a lot of money, but mentally they're not okay. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So yeah. it takes if you have the privilege of being around someone who has great character, and people who aren't slimy, because the one thing about humans is, whether you want to call it intuition or any type of instinctual thing, we know what right and wrong feels like. We know when we've been had. We know when someone means well to us. We know certain things. So character at the foundation of this will help you go further, because a lot of the things that you may feel may be bad should be the motivating things that's what's going on. Somebody's like, man, I'm not, you know, this ain't taking off or this not taking off. All right, so what are you doing? You put out music? Yeah, I put out music. How much music do you got out? You got a catalog of music? Okay, so you got all singles, you got all just random tracks, you got a mixtape, you got this, that, and the third, etc. All right, how's your marketing? You are your first marketing piece. So if you say you the coldest out, take that same amount of energy that you're saying, and you go everywhere that you can go. Go everywhere you're able to reach. If that Honda you got can make it to Alabama and you in Georgia, get out there. You know, some of the most profound entertainers or celebrities that were starting at the bottom, that literally had nothing, they had to lean on faith so hard that they had nothing, and they still found the wherewithal to go out there for whatever that opportunity was. And that opportunity just so happened to be for them, and it blessed them. And they knew they had nothing. So and just to segue, that's how I feel about music that comes from underground artists. I listen to a lot of underground artists because I know you're not gonna lie to me about this. I know you're not gonna lie to me about this because right now it's hard. So you can sit there and be like, oh, this, that, Rolls Royce, this, uh 10 bedroom house, got the pool in the back. They don't want us to have a bigger pool than Kanye, but I got one. This, then the third. You can do multiple things, but at the end of the day, as an unsigned artist or underground artist, you still either grind for the people that really enjoy your music, or you grind for the art of it. And that's what it's about. We chasing this bag perception, or this currency. It has to be, and don't get me wrong, that is a top tier thing, but you have to get to the top tier thing. Do you love making music, or you just out here doing it as a hustle?
Right.
If you are, okay, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, most people who do music should be doing music because they're creatives, one, and two, they enjoy it. Rain, sleet, or shine, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, or when they happy or when they sad. Most people,
Exactly.
yeah. So most people's universal language is to say, you know what, I feel like this. Let me put on this. You know what, I just got paid today. Let me put on this music. You know what? I'm going out tonight. I'm gonna hit the club. Boom, boom, boom. And a lot of times people don't get into the moods they're in until they're on a stimulant.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
true.
that's a whole nother thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it
I
is
don't
a whole
want
nother subject for sure, for sure. I know what you're talking about too, but we're gonna have to do bring you back on the show another time too, as you progress throughout your music. I wanted to know, like, what's next for you lyrically? Like, what are you coming out? What other projects are you coming out with? Because we only got 2 more minutes left.
Um, I'm glad you asked. So with with what I have coming out next, it's going to be more aggressive. A lot of because of how my raps are, a lot of times they're like lifestyleish, or just something that's psycho mental or whatever, or it's just something that I relatively see. So with this one, it's going to be a little bit more aggressive, but it's still going to have some knowledge in it. And the way that the witty way that I'm going to construct it, I'm just now in between whether to make my song shorter, hook, verse, hook, or just, no hook and do it like that. So I'll be putting out a lot of just single projects. I probably won't do like a compilation, an EP or LP like that until a little bit later, once everybody really gets my point that I'm trying to make.
Definitely. I think with this conversation that we had, it's a good start to the point that you're trying to make with throughout your music. It's very intriguing to hear you speak, and I wish to hear more from you. So whenever you put out that LP or that EP or whatever you want to do, mixtape, let me know so we can, construct another conversation around that.
Most definitely, yeah. I'm gonna bang your line on that. Now that we've had this talk, and the people understand that I'm a artist, and I'm sensitive about not just playing. So a lot of times it gets misconstrued, and a lot of things get lost in translation with music. So I just want to be able to say it one time. Wise man once told me, if you said it the first time, they heard you.
Exactly. And with that being said, Chicago, we love you so much. Thank you for tuning in, Atlanta. Thank you, Pop Fontaine. I appreciate you, and we'll see you again, Chicago. Peace.
Respect.
Hold on.